Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Interactive Brokers Morning Market Morsel for Thursday, December 6th. It's not a pretty day out there, particularly if you're long. The markets are continuing the sell-off that we saw on Tuesday. I guess we took a break for the Bush funeral yesterday, but we kind of picked up right where we left off. At this time when I'm taping it, we're seeing down about 2% across the board on most U.S. indices. That puts the S&Ps, the S&P's down about 60. Sorry, I just had to check. The S&P's down about 60 points. The Dow, for those of you who look at the Dow, and if you do, you shouldn't because it's a lousy index, that's down about 675, 700 points. NASDAQ off commensurately as well. Sorry for losing eye contact, but I was just checking a couple of quotes. You may wonder what the reason for this is, and I do get the sense that this is sort of a year-end get-me-out trade, and here's why. And I've really avoided being political on these discussions, and I don't want to make this a political discussion. This is not meant to express a political view one way or the other, but I think the market has begun to really lose patience with the president, and we saw it this week. The move that we saw higher on last Friday into Monday was on anticipation of good stuff coming out of the G20, and the proclamation that there was this trade truce on Monday certainly gave the market a lift, and the market deserved it. But as we read through it, there really wasn't much there. And then when you have a president come out and call himself the tariff guy, and in a way that actually makes many market participants wonder if he really understands that the tariffs are being paid for by American consumers and businesses, not by the Chinese, that's causing the people to lose faith in the market. This morning, there's a real proximate cause, and that is the arrest of the Huawei CFO. I've heard various analogies referred to this morning. Someone basically said, suppose there was an Apple road trip to China and they arrested Steve Jobs' daughter. That kind of thing. This can't be playing well. It's certainly, if there was a trade truce, it can't be going well at this point. So the one other thing that I keep looking at is the VIX at this point is about 24-ish as I'm sitting here. That still doesn't tell me that there's been the panic, get me out bottom. There seem to be a lot of year-end lighten me up trades, and I think that's what we're seeing in the market to explain the continual sell-offs. But there hasn't been that selling climax. And you may say, "Wow, these are big point drops." Point drops don't make the selling climax. You need one of these 90%, 90-10 days where it's 90% decliners and 10% advancers, or the up volume, down volume is 10% up and 90% down. We haven't had that. It's been very big numbers, but not really that feeling of capitulation. And so we're seeing the flight to quality. We're seeing the bond market, most bond yields headed lower. The inversion talk is a little bit behind us. I didn't want to make too much out of that 2.5 inversion. The market, it was definitely meaningful, but I think it pales to the fact that right now people are, I think, losing confidence in the administration. It brought prosperity through fiscal stimulus and particularly tax legislation, but now I think we're getting into what happens now, and a lot of the stuff has to either be done bipartisan or on an executive basis. And I think people are worried that a lot of the executive talk is a little misguided, and from partisanship, who knows where that goes when we start hearing all this background noise about Mueller and Cohen and the whole nonsense that's going on in that regard. It's not nonsense, but to the market it's noise, but it's out there. I said last week publicly that you should be selling rallies. Okay, it's a little too late for that now. I think if you're a longer term investor, you want to be checking names because there's got to be some bargains out there on your buy lists. But otherwise, I think until or unless you see that VIX really get into the 30s, I think the mindset remains stay cautious because you haven't had that real pullback yet. Thanks. Bye.